Beth, what is so controversial about wanting to open an online school?
A lot of times when we don't know about something, we're a little fearful of it and skeptical of it. Virtual education has been around for quite some time, and it is a great public school option for children who just do not quite thrive in the traditional setting for whatever reason. Even if they do have a great, outstanding teacher, sometimes we have children that suffer from medical issues, and it prevents them from being completely tuned into a traditional classroom or even unable to attend daily. We have children that are gifted students, and they don't have a challenge.
Beth, why are we now talking about the North Carolina Court of Appeals being involved in the question over the NC Virtual Academy?
The nonprofit organization, North Carolina Learns, approached Cabarrus County Board of Education back in 2011 with an application to open a public virtual charter school for the fall of 2012. There was incredible interest. Parents wanted one more option. But for some reason, North Carolina just seems to think it knows better than parents. There is hesitation to open and to approve a virtual charter school. The letter of intent was given and submitted. The application was approved by the Cabarrus County Board of Education. That application was forwarded to the State Board of Education, and quite frankly, the State Board of Education just sat on it. They had a timeline in order to approve or deny the charter, and the State Board of Education failed to act. North Carolina Learns organization went before the administrative law judge to find out whether or not that the inaction of the state board meant that the application was approved. The administrative law judge ruled that yes, because the State Board of Education failed to act by the deadline, then the application stood approved for the virtual public charter school. But the State Board of Education appealed that ruling, and in June of 2013, Wake County Superior Court judge overruled the administrative law judge, citing that the State Board of Education would outrightly reject that application. So it's an ongoing battle, and quite frankly, Donna, I'm just really not sure why it is a battle. Parents know best how to educate their children.
Gail, what are you hearing from the folks in the school choice movement in the state about what's happening here?
Choice movement is a big movement in North Carolina. Parents are very passionate about quality education for their children. There are all of these charter schools that are being applied for. The letter of intent has been written for these charter schools, but the issue is that about 12%, because it's a lottery process for a lot of these charter schools, only 12% of these students are going to be accepted into most of these charter schools.
So there's more demand than there are seats.
Exactly. It's a drawn-out process, too. So we're going to be waiting for 2 more years before our daughter can potentially do a virtual education. And that's the issue. We have no immediate relief. We're going to be sitting in the same situation for the next 2 years. How does that affect our daughter as well as the other children? How does that affect their education?
Would the NC Virtual Academy, if it ever is approved, and we're awaiting a word from the Court of Appeals, would it be the very first virtual charter school in North Carolina?
It will.
If it is allowed to open, would you want to enroll your child in?
Most definitely. I have myself as well as other parents who know this is a very successful program or idea in other states have come here and said, oh yeah, why don't you guys have a virtual academy? Well, we've been pushing for it for quite some time, and a lot of parents are ready for it.
Beth, the initial decision from the State Board of Education was a completely different board than it is today. Legally speaking, is there any way to go back and start this process again, or is the virtual academy just stuck in the legal system right now?
There is encouraging news for us. I had just a couple of weeks ago, I had a great meeting, very productive dialogue with the new State Board of Education, Chairman Bill Covey. And he's very interested in trying to meet the needs of parents and students. We, of course, spent the majority of our time talking about the virtual public charter schools and digging a little deeper into how they can meet the needs of the students in North Carolina. Chairman Covey is in the process of conducting further study and further review of virtual public charter schools. Pending the results of the study, Chairman Covey has committed to opening virtual public charter schools in the fall of 2014. 15.
Gail, the folks who are critics of an online virtual school, because it's virtual, it's not bricks and mortar, they have concerns that the school would not meet all of the rules, the regulations, the laws that apply to public charter schools. As a parent contemplating putting your child into one, do you have any concerns about that?
Let's think about it this way. Charter schools are, I say, scrutinized a little bit harder. So competition is really important when it comes down to education. And if charter schools are not performing, then they're not going to stay open. Unfortunately, that's not the same for public schools, for your regular brick and mortar public school.
We've been talking with Beth Purcell. She is the National Chairperson of Public School Options, and also Gail Hall, who is the North Carolina Chairwoman of that same organization.